Look alive, sunshine. Welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. This is your weekly tournament rundown for the biggest and best Warhammer 40,000 tournaments in the world. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
G'day, everybody.
And Dustin Henshaw.
Good eye.
Gotta switch y'all around sometimes.
We'll be the Canadian one. Oh, it's a good day, eh?
This is a live show. We do this each and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Talking about, like I said, the biggest and best Warhammer 40K tournaments happening all around the world. Before we get going, I want to give a shout out to GothCon. This is in Gothenburg, Sweden. 60 players, 6-round event hosted by the lovely Neil Kerr. World-renowned tournament organizer.
Some of the most prettiest eyes you ever did see in 40K.
But love to see the tournament happen in Sweden. We know that there are just top competitors in that area. Best of luck to all of them. It is going to be a Shark Tank. Keep your eyes peeled to see what happens to that tournament. It will no doubt influence things in that region. We're going to be bringing you coverage from two great events this week. We have the Wet Coast GT and Home Nations. Looking forward to it.
Should be an interesting one. Wet Coast is, of course, over in the Richmond area, just south of Vancouver, and has quite a strong contingent of the US of A in the upper left corner region of the US of A heading up for that tournament as well. And then Home Nations, people don't know, is a little mini WTC prep event. And by mini, I mean there's eight teams of 8 players representing their nations running around seeing. And there's most of the time, Home Nations is where people brew up there and test their prospects for the true shebang in August. So it should be very good.
Want to give a shout out to folks in chat. Andrew, Izzy, KR, Ivan Helston, Erwin, Dorian, Demek Boy, welcome into the chat. It's going to be a live one. First event we're going to be talking about is the Wet Coast GT. That is, like you mentioned, Richmond, British Columbia in Canada. Had to clarify all that. 162 players, 6-round event. What are we going to see there?
We will be seeing in the Imperial Super faction there are 1 Imperial Agent, 3 Sisters of Battle, 14 Custodes, 1 Admech, 10 Astra Militarum, 6 Grey Knights, and 4 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 5 Adeptus Astartes, 3 Dark Angels, 3 Space Wolves, 6 Blood Angels, 2 Black Templars, and 3 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 7 Chaos Space Marines, 1 T-Sun, 10 Death Guard, 3 World Leaders, 12 Demons, and 7 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 11 Necrons, 8 Orcs, 5 Tau, 5 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 6 Tyranids, 3 Gene Stealer Cults. Eldari, there's 3 Drukhari and 12 Eldari, which means a faction podium is Custodes, topping it off at 14. Eldari right behind them with 12. Necrons behind them with 11. And then Death Guard, Astra Militarum close behind with 10. And then Orcs still kind of up there with 8.
Is this 2023?
Right?
Yeah,
how can you explain that Custodes bump? I mean, I know they've been doing well, but it seems to be like a certain list in a certain environment. Like, why are they at the top of the heap right now? We got someone that's going to this event in chat. Let us know your theory on that too, and let us know what you're playing.
The Custodes numbers are fascinating. It's not unusual for us to see Custodes hit a top 3 at any event in the world, but for them to be a 2 ahead of what people assume to be the now new hottest thing at the moment, that being Eldari, and that of course Necrons, you can't take him off a podium if you tried. GW has tried. We've all tried. Necrons cannot be removed from the top of the pile this edition. But yeah, the Custodes. I mean, I wanted to go and do a faction breakdown for them. But I just ran out a little bit of time. But what do you guys reckon? Do you guys reckon it's all going to be Lions or Solar Spearhead or?
Lions is definitely a popular one. I think that's the most prominent one, with a couple Solar Spearhead and maybe one of the Shield Host.
Yeah, a couple of Shield Hosts.
You might have hit it on the head there with the Eldari matchups, because what we're seeing things, Eldari is very strong, but they're kind of being held down by these lists that can go and root them out, or the fact that like 1 unit of Fire Dragons has to kill 1 Terminator.
Yeah, correct.
And things like that.
It's a rough return, and I mean, outside the Fire Dragons, and then I mean, even Banshees in combat, nothing's really wielding a huge amount of AP. I mean. Sure, Dark Reapers with AP2 Ignore cover doing pretty good though.
Yeah, scatter lasers aren't getting it done though.
Not on its own. No, they don't. They need extra AP, and they need they don't have enough volume to do it. because they're hitting into what T5 at best, so wounding on 3s, and they still get at least a 3-up save, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those fire dragons cannot be everywhere.
Yeah, looking at a couple
dragons,
of lists.
Well, they don't re-roll against the non-vehicles either, right? It's only against vehicles.
No, I mean, they still do their basic rolls.
Hey, I've had fire dragons completely whiff into a Goliath rock grinder, okay? So I'm not scared of them. I ain't scared of them.
You live a charmed life.
So I've looked at half the lists and of Adeptus Custodes, and all have been lions apart from one. There's one shield host so far. So 6 lions, 1 shield host is the numbers that we're currently working with.
I did say one shield host. So stop counting shield hosts. Stop
there's
counting
2 shield hosts.
Damn.
No, it's 2.
All right, I'm wrong.
Too bad. As 1 solar spearhead so far.
There we
basically
go.
nailed it.
Yeah, basically nailed
3
it.
more to look at. Bang.
We did pull out a list to look at.
We did. So let me just quickly have a look at these last 3 lists.
What we try to do is pull out, especially as we get a little bit deeper into the season, the ITC rankings. We want to see who's doing well in certain regions, either in their local region or maybe the number one in the faction of that area. Who's going to be the ones to watch at events like this?
Well, so of the 14 Adeptus Custodes, 10 of them are Lions of the Emperor, and then we have 1 person who's actually Votan.
That's not good. Okay.
Doesn't matter. They're 13, not 14. Still number 1. And then 1 Solar, 1 Talons, 2 Shield Hosts. So 9. Yeah, 9 of the number. But anyway, 1 list to pull out. This is the 3rd ranked player in all of Canada with a beautiful name. Stu Angel. What a darling name. But this is Gene Stealer Cults, so I am not qualified to tell you what this does, and only Dustin is.
I know. 3 in the word you've never seen before your entire life.
Of course. Stu is awesome player. He is actually a member of Team Canada as well, so definitely one to watch there. It is a host of Ascension lists, so 3 Benefactus, one of them with an Assassination Edict, so +1 to hit against character units. Biophagus, Nexos, Nexos, Adam. Primus with lethals when they come in from Deep Strike. Reductus Saboteur, 3x5 Acolytes with Hand Flamers, 4x20 Neophytes, 1x10 Neophyte, 10 Hybrid Metamorphs, going to be joined with the Biophages for lethals as well. 2x5 Gene Stealers, 3x1 Ridge Runners, obviously with mortars, and then a Goliath truck to tote around the Metamorphs.
Tell us about the Metamorph unit, because it's you see it and you don't. It'll come into vogue and everyone will take it for a couple of months and then it'll disappear for a couple of years. Why is it in this list?
He wants a melee threat, is my guess. Like a credible melee threat, which the 10 Metamorphs with the Biophages are. Plus, they are unfairly cheap to resurge with resurgence points. A 10-man Metamorph squad has 50 attacks at strength 4, -1 damage, or 30 at strength 5, -1, 2 damage, which, having both those profiles makes them a really good threat against almost any target. Biophages gives them lethals as well, but they're only 4 out of your 10 points to resurge them, to bring back the whole 10-man unit. And you're aggressive with them. So, they fit very nicely into the 5-man Flamer units that only cost 2. I always use them now because of that resurgence kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just synergy, I guess. But they're a credible threat. They have, if you throw them at your opponent right away, they also have the surge move with Feel No Pain. So if you don't kill the 1 activation and you're too close, they can get into combat with you. Like, they're a really annoying unit to get rid of. And when you get rid of them, they'll come back. I really like this unit. I highly rate them right now.
Well, so I usually see them pop up and down in various metas. Usually in Horde meta is the most often that I see them going out to have an answer for 20 boys.
Well, they do have 9 flamers in there too, right? So
exactly right. So they go out for an answer for 20 boys or cultist horde or ACDC units. Is there a unit in the game at the moment that you think this is hunting?
Well, I think we've been talking about it, that the bigger bricks, like Warriors, have been coming out. Orcs have been coming out with more bricks. We see a lot more of the Neophyte bricks coming out. We're seeing a lot more of these larger units coming. Plus the Metamorphs, because they have 3 activations if you count a grenade. When they get out of the truck, they'll be rerolling their wounds too, so they can actually threaten anything in the game.
I looked at the Benefactus. They could actually lead Metamorphs. The Benefactus gives you lethal hits on ranged weapons for the units leading, and can join hybrids. The Acolyte hybrids, Hybrid Metamorphs, and Neophyte hybrids.
Yeah, but the Metamorphs are only flamers, so the lethals don't do anything for them. The Benefacts, they all join the Neophytes, which all the Neophytes will have lethals.
Mm.
Every single one of them. Well, except for the 10 men, I guess.
I like the list, man. List is strong.
Very
Stu's
strong.
going to do very well with it.
Absolutely.
Vicious.
All right, gents.
GC have been getting a bit. I mean, we saw them last week. Last time we talked about it, I think we talked about it on the part 2 of the show that we do for the Patreon subscribers. But I mean, like, I think now where it might have been a rarity, everyone might know someone that is currently playing Gene Stealers.
Yeah, absolutely. In singles, you're gonna mostly see Host of Ascension. Mostly, I still like Final Day because I just have more fun with it. Host of Ascension is probably the best one right now for singles. You will see the Biosanctic one in teams though, the heavy melee one. It just has some rough matchups in singles that you just have a lot of trouble winning. So it doesn't rate as highly in singles.
Let's pick some winners.
Yep. So this is the part of the show where we predict. Just say pick. We predict which faction and or player, corresponding player, is going to take down the top spots at this event. Not as easy to pick, as it has been in the past. Every week we've seen like the top 10s have been like 8 singletons and maybe 1 or 2 that are doubles.
Yeah, no, it's
and
hard
most usually it's not the player who comes first. That's the double. Like you'll get 2 Necrons in 5th and 9th, or double demons doing something similar, stuff like that. So it's really hard to pick.
I'll go last.
Oh yeah, you should definitely go last. This is your meta. Paul, 50-50. You want the 4+?
I will take the 4+.
It's a 2.
Nerd.
Am I going? I'm not going the Custodes. Yeah, I'll do the Eldari. Sure.
Eldari is a very solid choice.
It is.
I'll go Necrons.
It's always a safe one. In fact, I wonder if just like I just said at the start of 10th edition, I'm just going to pick Necrons every event, every time, all the time. I wonder how many months I would have won.
What your points would be like if you're it's like beating consistently.
16 months of dominance. Like they are the most consistent performer by far. Dustin, tell us who's winning.
Oh, I'm backing my boy.
Just back in the GSC. That's fair.
That is a solid bet. Sure did come up with some stiff competition. All right, the next event we're going to be covering is the Home Nations. This is from Stockport, England. 64 players and 8 national teams of 8 competing over 5 rounds. In 8-player tournaments, you cannot use, each team can only use a faction once. So, what we look for sometimes is what list come, above. We were looking at 50%. Now it's like what's 30 and 40% of everything out there, and we kind of consider that to be a strong pick that teams are gravitating towards.
100%. The meta is so diverse and wide at the moment that you can really, if you've got the player, you can kind of play any faction. Like you don't feel like, would anybody feel silly if Skari said, I think I should play Drakari? You'd be like, no, sure, do it. 100%.
What are you taking this time that gives you that edge? That's the only question. Is like, what's in there?
Exactly. If you've got the player, you can kind of play every faction. So I would say anything around the 5. Anything 4 or 5 is something that has been very heavily taken, because we're only going out of 8 here, and I can tell you nothing made the 8. Nothing was taken 100% of the time.
Close.
Wow,
which is very fascinating here, because you would assume just the Adeptus Astartes, because we lump those together, because you can only take 1. Even if it's Space Wolves, you can't take Ultramarines. Even if it's Death Watch, you can't take Blood Angels.
Yeah, there's only. You can see on the screen. Well, we'll get there. There's only 7 Space Marines.
Yep, 7 total. Anyway, take it away, Dustin.
Spoilers, guys.
I know.
I mean, if you're here live reading the screen, it's spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
my apologies to those that are listening only in audio format. I will never do it again.
We're going to forget by next week.
I will never do it again this show.
Literally never. We're going to forget by next week. Imperial Super Faction, there is a Sister of Battle. All right. 4 Custodes, 3 Admech, 5 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight. Space Marines, there's 3 Adeptus Astartes, 1 Dark Angel, 1 Blood Angel, and then 2 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 7 Chaos Space Marines, 4 Death Guard, 4 Emperor's Children, 4 Demons, and 7 Chaos Knights. So there's 2 of the bigger ones there too. Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Knights. Chaos having a really big showing at this event.
Huge.
Xenos, there's 3 Necrons, 4 Orcs, and 2 Votann. Highbind, there's 2 Tyranids and Innis. Eldari, there's 5 Eldari, which means the faction podium, the most taken factions are Astartes as a whole, CSM, and CK, so like Chaos Knights. And then next to that is Astra Militarum and Eldari at 5. So 3 teams didn't take either of those, which I find surprising.
Me too.
Orcs, Death Guard, Emperor's Children, Demons, and Custodes all at 4, which are all very fair choices at 4, I think.
Well, Emperor's Children making their first foray into one of our events on the show. This is the first time they've been featured, and they've been allowed for this event, even though they're technically, I believe they're either, are they out this Saturday? Like their official release is this Saturday, or is it next?
I think it's pre-released this Saturday.
Yeah. So
No,
is it?
So the
pre-order
pre-orders went in last Saturday.
Oh, they did?
So
Okay, that's a
people
Saturday.
could have some
Yeah.
models.
Yeah.
For this Saturday.
So they're being allowed here, you know, a little bit early for some, right on time for others. But that was an agreement that all captains made. Like they put it to the teams, and teams were like, yeah, we'd like to play with it. We pretty much know everything that's in it. Yada yada yada. So Emperor's Children being taken by half the team, so having a very strong initial foray into like the top level of the game, essentially.
I'm liking the looks of a lot of this, and I do need to point out too that one of the Votann players on Team England is bringing the Grotmist attachment that everybody is saying is garbage. So
Yep.
keep
Should
an
be
eye
very
out.
very interesting to track how that goes. Very fascinating. Chaos Knights and Chaos Space Marines. Of course, Chaos Space Marines, you could almost see Chaos Space Marines as being Chaos Space Marines and World Eaters kind of lumped into one, because Chaos Space Marines, especially Creations of Bile, has kind of taken that role from World Eaters.
Yeah.
And not so much taken as in like they're a little bit more of an even performer.
For now.
Yeah, for now. They're you know, we got some, yeah, they've already told us we've got a Dex coming. But like it's very fascinating to see that those two roles have been lumped into each other and taken as that, because Chaos Space Marines are also one of the best trading armies in the game. In addition to now they have the pressure build. So there's a bit of both in there. But Chaos Knights, boys, can we think of any matchup out there that the Chaos Knights would be like, oh yeah, let's take Chaos Knights?
Well, yes.
Eldari.
Eldari numbers are dropping though. Like, is it because people are like, I'm taking stuff specifically to fight Eldari, and the Eldari players are like, I don't want none of that.
So we've seen this happen at WTCs. We've seen this happen at large events the world over. When you have one known factor, and now with more DACA, essentially removed from that. When you have one known factor, that's the best. That's the top of the pile. People will tailor 3, sometimes 4 of their lists to make sure that top dog doesn't get a big score. And that's what has happened at this event. 120% is what happened at this event.
Well, it's interesting though when you're doing something like that too, because if you're gearing that much towards one faction, then it doesn't show up in the numbers.
That's exactly right. If you go too hard into it, or if people know you're doing it, the response is to not take it, which 3 teams have done.
It's one of the really cool aspects of team events, right? Another one of the cool ones. I just love team events, so I'll always hype it up.
I still think the Chaos Knights, like you can look at it, they still present an interesting conundrum to certain players that may not be able to get through all of those bodies with OC8 and things like that. So.
That's the nail on the head right there, Paul, because you get to have this, your best army. We have a counter to it. And at the same time, there's very few armies in the game that blow out and really, really put.
No, it's like, you didn't give us the Eldari? All right. Well, we're just going to put us into almost anything else. So
and they're going to get a score. You're exactly right. There's so few armies that will give them a 0. And you see those coming a mile away. And most of them start with Astra and with Militarum. And you're like, not that one, thanks, because they really struggle versus Rebel Dawns. I know from experience. And so, it's very, very easy to just not get domed as the Chaos Knights player and just dodge be a predator while dodging the 1 or 2 bad matchups in the back.
Yep.
So, 100%.
I do really like it. I'll say this, when Chaos is strong and like Orcs are strong, I feel like the game's in like a real fun place to, it's like you see a lot of thematic matchups on the tables and that kind of stuff, so glad they're strong and
player.
See this stuff.
It's been pointed out by KR Quinn. The US of A are in attendance and did not take any Adeptus studies.
They are the ones that did not take the space.
They are the only,
the US of A did not take space.
Trying to big brain that meta.
yeah. Or so we do know that people are bringing prospects to this event. People are bringing they'll bring their one or two of their top guys, their top players, and then 5 or 6 of their prospects, just to see who's pushing what, who's doing well,
Right.
and how they operate at this level. And so it might be that the Adeptus Astartes guy or two that they have in the academy pool couldn't make this one. It could also
Or
be
they
that
all that Lennon's on the team. You're like, no, we're not even gonna.
that's
There's no
literally what I
point.
was alluding to. You said what I was alluding to without having to say it. So no one's taking Marines off Lennon if he wants to be on Marines, and he's the captain, so you better believe he's on it if he wants it. No, he's not coming. So why is anybody else why is any of the academy boys going to be like,
I'll
play
do it.
Marines?
I could do it.
And
better
you
than
wouldn't
him.
want to test a list that you think is absolutely pushing the meta
Yeah.
in advance of being able to people to see what the tech is. So
correct. Deathwatch being taken here in 2 of the teams as well, I thought was quite nice. And I've been freaking waiting for this to happen, especially at team events. Like, where's the Deathwatch players? Because there are so many Xenos to punish in the meta. Like, yeah, so many.
we seem to do well, but it's like what we talked about. It's kind of like a hard list to make.
It is.
And just have on the shelf. There is a bit of catch up thing that has to do it. Maybe it finally is. Maybe we'll see more of them as we trend into this midpoint of the year. But we got a team to talk about.
We do, and we do things a little bit differently this time. And it turns out this is probably how we're going to do it in the future. We have events of this, caliber where you have national teams representing their nations playing against each other. I put a vote to our patrons. Which team of the 8 of them would you like to see voted on? And I put them in alphabetical order, no favoritism. And of course, the US of A have got more votes than the rest. Although Team Ireland, Team Ireland got some decent votes. So I'm going to reel down the 8-pack for Team USA. I'm going to stop after I'm halfway through, and we'll discuss, and then I'll do the last half. But first, off the top, exactly what I was talking about, Chaos Space Marines Creations of Bile. We have a Chaos Lord who has Prime Test Subject, if I remember correctly. Fabius Bile, Cypher, a unit of Cultists, 4 units of 5 Legionaries with 4 Rhinos to tote them, and then the unit of 10 and unit of 5 Chosen around, a Nemesis Claw, and 2x10 Possessed. So a lot of CP shenanigans there between Cypher and the Nemesis Claw. But then just a good, well-rounded pressure list otherwise. Adeptus Custodes, Lions of the Emperor. This is Folger, so it's going to be pretty dang good. And it looks like a singles list that he would play. He's got 2 Blade Champions, a Dawn Eagle Jetbike Captain who has the Adamortis, I believe. Valerian, who's an interesting one, who we should unpack in a moment. 2 Caladius Grav Tanks, 3 units of 5 Wardens, 2x4 Prosecutors, 5 Witch Seekers, and a single unit of 2 Praetor Bikes to either go with the Dawn Eagle Jack Captain or be split up for some more MSU. An Astra Militarum Hammer of the Emperor. So this to me is the list that they're going to have to do a little bit of protecting and make sure it gets on the right tables. But if it does, it's going to be brutal because it's got 3 Rogal Dawn Tank Commanders, a unit of Acadians, a unit of 10 Deathcore Krieg Infantry, 2 Tauroxes, 2 Hellhounds, 2x10 Kazakin, a Leman Russ Battle Tank, a Leman Russ Exterminator, and a Scout Sentinel. And then last of the first 4 is their Chaos Knights, which is 13 War Dogs. But instead of having 6 Brigand, 6 Carnivores, they've got the 2 Stalker, 5 Brigand, 6 Carnivore approach to have the 2 quality enhancements. One being for the sticky objectives, and the other one to be the the Hulk Hogan, and make him take a battle shock at -1. In the right timing. But that is the first 4, boys. What jumps out to you?
Both the Creations of Bile and the Adeptus Custodes builds, I think, are a really good pairing together. I like taking both of those in the same list.
Me too. Makes a lot of sense to me.
A little bit different take with the Astra Militarum. Typically, we don't see some catechins and stuff just for that type of presence. But this yielded towards more tanks, and I like that.
Yeah. It's gone very lean and for its purpose, and its purpose is to bully people with like hulls, like hull. One big unit of Deathcore Krieg to play screen as well, which I like in the list quite a lot, because essentially what you're just going to do is here's 3 Leman Russ battle tanks. If your opponent has any ability to charge your stuff, because of course Hammer of the Emperor has, unlike the vast majority of Astra Militarum, has the ability to fall back and shoot. But you're going to have to get through 20 Deathcore to get there, and they're going to have the +1 save order on them the entire game, and they're just going to be hanging out in front of all the tanks, making you chew them before you get to charge or tap anything.
And they don't die as quickly as you might want them to.
Ooh, and then they come back, as in like you use the medipacks to resurrect, right?
Yeah. So you think you've done a lot of work, and then gets undone.
We'll do it again.
Yep.
Valerian in Folger's list, in the Adeptus Custodes list. You guys familiar with this guy?
No.
That's the character that comes with the 2-pack. The characters.
No, not in. Yeah, it did come in a 2-pack, but you don't take them together anymore.
Oh no, I meant like you bought them to get in the 2-pack.
So Valerian is ostensibly a shield captain, and it does have shield captain. Nice. So whilst this model is leading a unit, each time a melee attack targets that unit, worsen the AP by 1. Can you boys think of any unit being heavily taken by melee armies that only has AP 1? It's in the list just above it. Freaking possessed.
They're going to come in. AP 1, really?
They're strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage.
I thought they could get.
They rely on their. They rely on their once per game devastating wounds to punch through stuff like.
I was thinking chain axes. That's what I was thinking.
Chain swords. Yeah, so absolute chain swords.
Yeah, so they just bounce. It's also here, I believe, for Emperor's Children, who, if you're not taking the Flawless Blades detachment, only are wielding AP2, AP1 most often, unless you're a Lord. Actually, the Lords are on the AP2 as well. So Emperor's Children could bounce off this completely also, because they're full melee army as well outside the Noise Marines. So not a bad take there. And then the second ability of Valerian is once per battle after making a hit, wound, or save roll for this model, you can flip it to a 6. And so you could use that twice technically if you're willing to throw a CP at it.
I mean, got to feel no pain of a 6+. Has hit his spear 7 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 8, -3 AP, 2 damage.
Yep, which 8 is a very relevant breakpoint for Custodies, because most of the time they're like 7 or a million. There's nothing really in the middle. You're like 7 or 12 plus is their strength brackets. So strength 8 is actually quite nice to have a little bit of. And he's not very expensive.
Actual Custodies character.
Yeah, only 110 points. He's actually very, very reasonable. And the fact that he comes built in with essentially, permanent armor content in combat, I think is a very good take. All right. Next up,
question for team composition. In teams, if no one is playing an army like Demons, can Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Knights ally in Demons? Yes,
absolutely can.
They would absorb that faction for the rest of the team, though. So one of the considerations for team tournaments is when you've got a list like, what is it, the Shadows list?
Shadow Legion.
Yeah, Shadow Legion that has those 2 factions in it. Is like, can you take that stout list and absorb 2 of those factions from your team? So it's just choices you have to make in this particular format.
Absolutely is. All right, the last 4, we have an Orc Tactical Brigade. So USA still taking Orcs. There's 2 Beast Bosses, a big mech with in Mega Armor, 3 big mechs with shock attack guns. Of course, you can assume they all have those really good enhancements on them. A single mech and Zodrog. So still going the Zodrog route. 2x10 Beast Snagger Boys, 5 Storm Boys, 4 Trucks, 5 Burner Boys, 10 Flash Kits, of course, to go to the Mega Armor Big Mech. A unit of 11 and a unit of 22 Gretchen, 3x6 Tank Busters, and a single unit of 3 Warbikers. And then we have, so they're just as fast. They're a little bit more durable than Storm Boys, and they're considerably faster.
I respect this. Another tech piece is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And they're still Orcs.
Exactly right. Eldari, devoted of Iniad. This is Nick Nanavati, who loves to party. He's got 2 Autarchs, the full complement of Ynnari characters, that being Vizark, Yvrain, and Yin Khan. 10 Storm Guardians, 2x5 Dark Reapers, a Falcon, 2x5 Fire Dragons, 2x5 Howling Banshees, 5 Rangers, 5 Striking Scorpions, a unit of 4 Warlock Conclave, which is one of the first times I've seen that, 2x5 War Spiders, and a unit of 6 Wind Riders. Second to last, we have a Plague Company of Death Guard with a Biologist Putrefier, a Foul Blight Spawn, Lord of Contagion, Typhus, and Mortarion, 10 Plague Marines in a Rhino, 10 Cultists, 3 Predator Destructors, a single unit of 3 Death Shroud to go with the Lord of Contagion, most likely, 3 Bloat Drones, 3 Nurglings, and Rodigus. So there's the demons, as to that person's question in the chat. And then lastly, we have a Necron's Awakened Dynasty. No warriors in this one, though, but he's gone the race route instead. He's got a Hexmark, Imhotech, an Overlord, 3 Psychomancers, which also we should unpack, 3 Scorpec Lords, a Technomancer, a Reanimator, 2 DDAs, that being Doomsday Arcs, 6 Wraiths, a single unit of 5 Flayed Ones, 2x5 Lich Guard, and then the 3x3 Scorpex. So going MSU Awakened Dynasty.
Let's just kept going.
Yep, it just kept going, man. I'm a big fan of a lot of these, and they are pushing the envelope with quite a few. So I'm very happy to see that. Anybody know what the Warlock Conclave does, Paul? You have any idea what the Walking Warlock Conclave does?
So they can lead. They can join the Storm Guardians in that for sure, and let's see, the
So
Psychic Communion. Each time this unit is selected to shoot for each Warlock model in the unit until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack and strength characteristic of that model's destructor weapons for each other friendly Eldari Psyker model within 6 inches of that model to a maximum of +2. So that gives them D6 shots, strength 5, so strength 7, neg 1 AP, 1 damage base, and then torrent. So taking that up
there is one really big trick in that squad in this
Oh, yeah?
list. Yeah, because Yvraine can join it too.
Oh, okay. So they
She
power
can
up your brain.
resurrect warlocks.
That's
That's
correct.
huge.
Mm.
That's 3 wound, 4
Oh, because it's
invuln
just
models.
models,
It's
right?
just
Models
models.
and- yeah.
4
Yeah.
4 up invuln, 3 wound models that you just get D3 backup.
That's huge. That's huge. Mm.
That has to, because there's no incubi in this list.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be where they're
100%
going.
what he's doing. And interesting enough, WTC had that fact that you couldn't do it, but Captain's Vote went back on that not too long ago. I don't remember when, but so it recently is allowed again. So Nanavi is like, here we go.
Nice.
And yeah, Nanavati's playing that list. That's why I mentioned that for people that were asking.
So Psychomancers are just some really janky, good battle shock tech. So they're only 55 points. They come with like a decent gun. They're like strength 6 -3, 3 damage, single shot gun. But what they do is in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if you're within 6 and below starting strength, you have to take a battle shock at -1, even if you didn't have to before. And then once per turn at the start of your command phase, movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, or fight phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 18 of this model. That unit must take a battle shock test at -1. So having 3 of them, can you just point at one problem unit and then just go battle shock, start of the movement phase, battle shock, start of the shooting phase, battle shock, start of the fight phase? Can you just try and just flip objectives with these 3 guys for like a minimum amount of points?
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems good. And of course, you get these guys, you get these annoying little buggers back for 1 CP. You just bring them back to life when they die.
Yeah.
Nice little tech there.
Seems pretty
like
good.
it. I like it. It's interesting to see just straight back to Tactical Brigade with the Orcs. Not surprising, but then they've added the Zodrog. So they were
models.
Yeah, Orcs players went to Tactical, learned how good Zodrog and 22 Grots is, and then brought that back with them to Tactical Brigade because they realized it's just so dang powerful. And I'm here for it. I think it absolutely is. And the reason they're taking that is because I'm betting they guessed the meta and that there was going to be creations of Bile, Chaos Knights, all this stuff all over the place. And they're just going to need to have bodies between them and problems. And it's interesting to see how that is exactly the same as how the Astra Militarum is built when they have the 20 Death Corps Krieg to just be that bodies between us and problems. Because ostensibly, the Tactical Brigade and the Hammer of the Emperor lists are about the same, where they have your 4 to 5, or in the case of the Orcs, probably debatably 6 like hammer damage dealing explosive units, and then everything else is either MSU, insider transport, or trying to play defense, trying to play misdirection in the middle of the table. I think they're really well built and they work together very, very effectively.
All these lists seem to have a lot of tools to be able to compete with the objectives, so it's going to be a tough team to beat.
Absolutely will. Interesting with the Plague Company, they've gone a little bit lighter on the DACA, I guess, because they've only got the 3 Predator Destructors to do all their real heavy lifting, the 3 blow drones being the activators for the Destructors. But they've gone even heavier into the durability in other ways by taking Rodigus. And of course, Rodigus has some beautiful debuffs, especially to objective control, that they're going to bring to the floor as well. And then the +1 damage ability also.
Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say about Roddy on the table. But anyway, that's the team of US of A. I will let you guys know before you pick. There is very strong contingents from Team Belgium, Netherlands, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England.
Can we even take USA away from Paul? Do we have to kind of give it to him? Like I feel like
we're picking faction.
No.
Although I'm strongly rooting for the USA.
We're picking a nation and then a faction.
Oh, a nation and a faction.
The nation will get you. Yeah. If you pick the right nation, you'll get 1 point. So 2 points for first place, 1 point for second or third.
I called my shot too early.
Well, me and Dustin were both saying we can't take the US around. You're the only one of us who's represented. So Dustin's Paul gets USA. Now the question is, What is Dustin and I picking?
Yeah.
Dustin, you can go first. You pick
Can I go
last,
first?
right?
I'll take England.
Yeah. See, I was about to throw shade and be like, does any of us have the balls to put their name to England, being colonial nations under the yoke?
Both of us,
all right.
we both kind of have that, right? So,
All right. 4 up is Belgium. 1, 2, 3 is Netherlands.
ooh,
Netherlands.
Netherlands it is.
All right.
All right. There we go, boys. Now we've got to pick factions.
Yeah, we're not done yet. We got more business.
There's more to do.
Paul, your faction.
I'm going Chaos Space Marines.
That's good. That's a good pick.
What'd you go, sorry? Chaos Knights?
Chaos
Space Marines.
Yeah, CSM. Yeah, that's correct. Dusty Boy?
Ooh, there.
Actually, I have a question for you, answer, Dustin.
Sure.
Why are the Tyranid numbers so low? I consider Tyranids to be one of the best armies in 8-player teams.
So do I, and I can tell you that most people disagree.
Okay, well, there you go. All right. Well,
You and I are close to alone on that, I guess, Adam.
No, I agree with you.
Well, there we go.
Strong
So
contender.
all of us are here. We agree on that.
Of like, we're planning team events over here too, and it's like Tyranids are in the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're in that. I don't know that, but I think they're like that 9th list that you talk about. I think someone has to talk you into bringing the Tyranids.
Well, it's either you talk. I don't even think it's something you talk them into. I think Tyranids are something that you absolutely should bring if you have anybody that's at all familiar with them. Then they don't have a better army for it, because Tyranids, like Adam was saying, they have solid teams lists. Whatever you need them to do, they can do it, and they can do it well and consistently.
All right, Dusty Boy, what's your faction?
I will go Eldari.
Eldari, and I have already typed in Emperor's Children.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It is a good pick.
I was considering it, but now I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Gonna be a great one, though. Yeah, that tournament's going to be strong. But those are 2 events that we're covering. Now, this is the part of the show where we might talk about a sponsor. We're going to say we sponsor ourselves. Check us out on Patreon if you haven't already. Patreon is, the show takes a lot to put together, and that's one way of support. You can say, yo, what's up, guys? Hit up on Patreon. If you are a tier 2 or higher subscriber, that does get you access to another show that we do. We do a follow-up show to this show on most weeks, where we look back, we actually talk about what won, we talk about the top 10s of the event, we diagnose the list that we're doing well at those events, and we give each other crap about how close we were on our predictions, or sometimes not. It's a fun ride, and if you can support the show in that way, please do. So that's our sponsoring ourselves for that. Although there are many other ways you can support the show. Hit those likes, hit the subscribe, leave some comments below, come hang out and chat. We have an amazing chat community, as I mentioned, but at the first part of the show, we do this live each and every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come and hang out with us. All that engagement makes the world go round. Leave us some 5-star reviews. If you've made it this far, do that thing, which is hit those buttons that I just humbly requested to make the algorithms, pop and whir and do all that stuff. Pow, 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 pow. Now, as part of the show, though, we're doing something a little silly. This part typically has very little to do with Warhammer. This part of the show where we call it the Fuego Rapido, where we bring up a series of topics and a timer and give us our hottest takes on whatever the subject matter of that this segment may be. Sometimes we don't even know what it is until we see it on the screen. But we give ourselves 2 minutes to run down some of the hottest takes in the world on whatever the subject is, and then once that clock stops, we stop talking about it forever, never to return to it again, unless demanded by the patrons.
Of course.
What's it going to be this week?
This week we continue our playoffs of the movie genres. This week we have the fantasy genre.
So this is a continuation. If you are just jumping in, you do want to go back and check out the others so you can see where we're at, and basically let us know if you agree.
What have we done so far? We've done
horror. We've done comedy. Those are the only 2 we've gone through so far.
Okay.
And we have 8 to go through, and then all the champs go off into the
final
playoffs.
Both those winners had a almost horror theme to them.
It's
so
true. It's true.
Maybe we have
what a coincidence. What a coincidence.
We have a type.
And of course, this is all subject to opinion and
all subject to opinion.
So these have been seeded into brackets, and we're going to be, and this is just how it shakes out. So
It's just random. So some of them,
movie versus
some of them
movie
that should be making it further often don't, just because they go up against another monster, and we have opinions.
Yep.
Yep.
All
And
right,
this is
Dusty.
definitive. You can take these answers to the bank.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Completely
Absolutely.
When you're in your own circles, you can use this as a reference. You heard it on
Correct.
the Meta Chasers, the Warhammer Meta Chasers, about a totally different subject.
Could not be wrong about this.
Yeah. Could not. We're right about everything else.
Water cooler will also be Fuego.
Yep. There we go. We're getting there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. First off, we have Willow versus Robin Hood. Pick your favorite Robin Hood movie. But I don't.
I do not care. None of them are beating Willow.
Willow.
Yeah, I don't.
Willow. Windmill
Either of you
slam.
actually said. That's why I wanted to say
Drop punt.
any Robin Hood. I don't care which one. It doesn't matter.
Did Men in Tights made the second or third round of the comedy?
Men in Tights made it really far, actually.
Yeah. Have they made a good Robin Hood? Like the best Robin Hood film was the original in like
Kevin
made in
Costner?
the 40s.
The
It
original
was made in
not-
the 40s.
There were there any accents in the Kevin Costner one? No, I did like that movie, by the way.
No.
It was a long time ago.
Well, I mean, Morgan Freeman had an accent-ish.
He did. Yeah, Morgan Freeman nailed it.
I loved his character in that.
Yeah.
And then was it Christian Slater? You know, when he launches
Yes.
him over.
He did.
So-
On a freaking catapult over a castle wall, because that works. Yeah.
Well,
Willow won this one, by the
oh,
way.
yeah, by
handily.
like 3-0.
100%.
So here you go, KR. Your question is answered right now, because the next one is Princess Mononoke versus Princess Bride.
Oh.
God.
Mononoke is my favorite. That's my favorite animated film of all time.
It's awesome.
Princess
The
Mononoke.
voice talent
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
that movie
Dude,
alone, you know, then you add in the animation, then you add in the story, you know, it makes you want to know more about almost every scene. But as all to say that though, Princess Bride is the movie I would watch over and over and over again. So it wins, in my opinion.
I see. I love Princess Bride, but not as much as Mononoke. So I'm going the other way. We're going 1-1.
Look, he's only mostly dead. That means you're only mostly wrong.
Well,
I can't quote any of the Mononoke stuff.
Yeah, see? Like, we can start from the beginning. Oh, you don't want to hear the story? There's kissing. Well, you know. Like,
well, luckily I already
You
have an answer.
believe.
I didn't mind waiting, because I already know my answer for this one. It is Princess Bride.
I knew that's what. I'm not splitting hairs here because I knew which way Dustin's going.
How would you know that?
I've known you too long.
How'd you
I
know
have something
that?
to tell you.
I'm an anime fan.
No,
No, I'm not.
No,
not like him.
I like anime, but
not over the Princess Bride though.
not a
Anything that has Andre the Giant in it. gonna be hard
Anybody
to
want a peanut?
Peanut. Yeah. All right.
All right, next up. Highlander versus Neverending Story.
This is very.
These are
very
rough.
difficult.
Oh, wow.
This- wow.
Look,
rough.
I hate to
There's
say this
no
because
chill.
the Neverending Story is spectacular, but it's Highlander.
I agree.
The greatest movie ever made.
Greatest movie ever made. Greatest soundtrack ever. I mean, only second. I mean, maybe second to Flash Gordon. Maybe first, depending on what time of day. it
So
is.
straight up, I love the Neverending Story, but it's not my top 5. Like, it's not my top 5 even children's fantasy.
It's so good.
I think
I
there's
don't know
yeah.
if it has traumatized me enough, but I actually don't enjoy watching it anymore.
Yeah, I have so I go back and I watch like Return to
pull punches.
Oz, which is an acid trip of a
Oh,
thing. I go back and I
movie
watch.
is
I go back and I watch Labyrinth and Dark Crystal all the time. I have not watched the Neverending Story
me
in
neither.
like 20 years.
Highlander, though?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
here we are,
Oh,
born
yeah.
to be
Any day,
kings.
anytime.
Princes of the
Highlander.
universe.
All right, well, 3-0. Sorry, Neverending Story. Wow.
That's a tough
Yeah.
one. That's
but yeah.
that's round 8 of the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a top table.
That could be a top table right there. All right, next one. Harry Potter versus Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Is this the whole Harry Potter series versus the 2 Wizard of Oz's? Or
I
the
want to see
third
the
one, or
best
the-
Harry Potter against the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I'd go Harry Potter. I don't have a soapbox to get on and pontificate upon that though, but I'm just going off what was more impactful to me and what I'm more likely to watch.
Wizard of Oz used to be a special event every
So-
year it'd be played once on TV.
I will say,
Wicked is super
when it-
popular right now.
like even when I was a kid, when it changed from black and white into full color, even though like color TV was
A real
around
thing.
when I
You
was-
had it.
I'm
You've
not
heard of
that
it.
old. I was still like, whoa, you know. But still, Harry Potter.
Yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to say Wizard of
Do you-
Oz. It's just
Do you get
Gotta
do
go
you
with
get
your
Harry
heart.
Potter? Do you get Harry Potter without movies like The Wizard of Oz though? Like I don't know.
You
that's
don't.
kind of what I'm like. Wizard of Oz did.
It was
like-
formative.
The Wizard of Oz became an archetype for almost like for a lot of other
It
things.
really
It,
did.
it did. I mean, it is just a D&D campaign,
Well,
though, right?
The thing is, if I'm thinking about which I would watch now, I wouldn't watch The Wizard of Oz again right now. I'd watch
Me
it.
either. That's why I went Harry Potter.
That's the
Which
only
one I'm
reason.
more likely to sit down and watch?
I think I
Yeah.
have to go Harry Potter.
Okay.
I'm not happy about it though.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's the
happy
way
about
it
it.
shakes out. That's the way it shakes
Mm.
out sometimes.
Like I'm really not happy about it, but I have to. That hurt me. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one so I can stop thinking.
Is this the last of bracket of the round
Oh,
ones?
that's only the first half.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Next one: Chronicles of Narnia versus Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Straight up, it's Dark freaking Crystal.
Dark
If you go movie versus movie, there is no Narnia movie
Yeah.
that holds a candle to the Dark Crystal, and there've only been one of those movies. I mean, if you're going to go books to books, you know, we can get deep into
Well,
the
so
mire
the
on
Dark
that.
Crystal, they did a series on Netflix. It was
Which
several
was
years
very
ago,
good.
I think, and you forget that you're watching
Yeah.
Muppets. Like, it's spectacular.
Well, that is a 3-0 Dark Crystal. So
Yeah, mostly
Yeah.
because they can't seem to make a good Narnia movie more than anything else.
there's entertaining parts, but
Yeah,
Well,
It
the
do-
first
doesn't
one was
capture
pretty
it
good,
well.
but then I just didn't really like the rest of them were. And I like deep in the books too. I don't remember how far deep in them. I know I didn't read them all, but I read
right.
some depth into the books.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think they started to blend it all together. And I was like,
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal 3-0. Next one: Krull versus Labyrinth.
Power of the baby, what baby? Power of voodoo, hoodoo, you do what? Remind
Yeah.
me of the baby.
I think Paul just said
Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's Labyrinth. That's a 3-0.
Yeah, it's a 3-0.
That's
One
a
of
3-0.
you tells the truth and one of you lies.
It's nice to get some easy ones now and then.
Yeah, it is nice to get some easy ones. Freaking Highland.
I'm not
I mean,
so sure about
Liam
the-
Neeson's in Krull. And for some reason, everyone you've ever met knows what Krull is. But that movie
Yeah.
was so long ago.
Yeah, it was. All right, next up, Conan versus Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is Pirates? I guess it is a fantasy.
Yeah.
fantasy. It's
But
more
we put it in
swashbuckling.
fantasy.
Fantasy on the seven seas. Oh, this is
Mm,
tough because I love that first Pirates.
Yeah, the first Pirates of the Caribbean
First
was
Pirates
absolutely
is
incredible.
Really good.
Some people even say it saved Disney. Like legit. People even
that's
say
not
like Disney
not
was
unfair.
fading real hard until
not
Pirates of the
unfair.
Caribbean came along.
Yeah.
Chad is
Um,
going hard into Conan.
yeah.
We're gonna get a riot if Conan doesn't win this.
If I have anything, I'm a man of the people, so I will also say.
I'm gonna say Conan.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
It is Conan, but again,
Yeah.
not happy about getting Pirates out so quick. But
Yeah,
it's definitely Conan.
This is tough.
Honestly, Pirates is so in true Disney fashion. Once they have a successful anything, it needs to become a franchise they beat with the dead horse in perpetuity until Johnny Depp is dead, and then they're going to resurrect his corpse and make him do it again.
I have enjoyed
Till
those
you're
movies.
90.
Similar to what Hugh Jackman is doing right now.
Exactly.
Till you're 90.
Till you're
Yes.
90.
Bring
And
it on.
Because of that, I go Conan.
All right.
Yeah.
Conan 3. Oh, oof. Pirates didn't deserve that, but Conan did.
It didn't.
So. All right, and the last one of round one is Lord of the Rings versus Life of Pi. I'm not.
How dare it stand in the shadow?
So
Within-
okay, we do need to
within sight.
make a decision right now. Which Lord of the Rings is
Which
this?
one is the best one in your opinion? Because to me, it's the first one. Like,
I do think
Fellowship.
Fellowship is incredibly strong and sets the tone.
Fellowship number one for me.
yeah, Fellowship. So we're going on.
Okay, so we'll say Fellowship of the Ring.
All right, we're going
Yeah.
Fellowship.
Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay.
Yeah. How dare Life of Pi stand within view? of
Hey,
Lord
it
of the
got
Rings?
seated.
Get outta here.
It got beat up in seating. It was
Get out of here!
It's
Yeah,
just gone.
annihilated.
just okay. Anyway, on to round two. So, first up, we have Willow versus Princess Bride.
Oh damn! I'm going Willow. I freaking love that
It's
movie.
Princess Bride
Like,
still.
the rest of these are gonna be hard.
Yeah,
It's
I'm Willow. I'm Willow all the way, baby. Like
Willow's great, but
Willow's
it's not Princess Bride. Princess Bride is just so ultimately quotable. I went and saw it in a theater backed by an orchestra recently.
my thing with Princess Bride was that it was just like one step too whimsical for me as a kid, whereas Willow was like it was funny, then brutal, then funny again, then brutal. Like, yeah, which I liked more as a kid. I think that says a lot about me though.
Yeah, it does. But I don't
I mean,
disagree.
it's
Mad-
good, but
Mad
what would you
Mardigan?
watch like right now? Like I
Willow.
think if what? Will?
Don't make me call you a peck.
No, look,
It
there's
feels
there's
bad.
amazing stuff
It feels
in
bad
Willow.
to go against Val Kilmer right now. I'm not gonna lie.
It does,
Don't
but
let, don't,
Princess
let
Bride.
don't let that cloud. Yeah, don't let that cloud. I mean, Andre the Giant's passed, and he's in
guess
that
that's
one.
true.
Actually, who played in Diego Montoya? He's passed away as well, hasn't he?
Did
Mandy
he?
Patinkin? I don't think
Did he?
No, he didn't.
Oh, maybe it was the other guy. Maybe it was the villain dude, the four-fingered man.
Six Finger Man.
That one, that guy right there.
So, because we're getting into the harder ones, and if we're tied, I'm going to start looking more into chat, and chat is saying Princess Bride pretty heavily. So,
Damn it!
I think
Fine.
that's where we're going.
Fine. So that's 2 of mine out. That's 2.
That's...
I lost Mononoke as well to Princess Bride.
Princess Bride's beating all of yours. Get out of here, Adam.
Yikes!
Hey,
All right.
chat's getting involved. When they're passionate, we got to listen.
Those were hard,
They were very
Those are
hard.
hard.
but
I'm happy.
the right choice was made.
I'm happy there's some of these that are hard for us, and we're having to make.
We have
like,
hard. They're hard now.
It's going to get easier.
This one might not be, but actually, this one's not for me. Highlander versus.
We've
Harry
got
Potter.
confirmation Mandy Patinkin is alive and well.
There we go.
Thank you. So Highlander versus
Harry Potter.
Highlander.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It could be only one. Yeah.
Look. If Harry Potter had a Queen soundtrack, maybe, but it doesn't.
So Nick Cave is in the first Deathly Hallows or whatever as a
He
song.
is, yeah.
But it's no full backed Queen soundtrack.
No, it's still not Queen. Even Nick Cave would stand here and be like, "I'm not Queen." And
Yeah.
he don't that. And do you guys quote Highlander to each other? Like when me and my brothers like wrestle and stuff, we quote Highlander
All
to
the
each other.
time.
All the time.
There could be only one.
Oh, yeah. Like that is. It might actually be one of the most quotable things that I've ever said. Because
That or the soundtrack.
I have
At least
something
once
to
a day.
say.
Oh, the soundtrack.
Probably not a day goes by.
Like I've played numerous MMORPG games with the name the Kurgan.
Listen,
As-
we have
yeah.
a friggin'
Just quoting the Kurgan at people.
we are a 40K show. We are a 40K show, and we have an entire tournament rule set based on this movie. Okay, we have to.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Legitimately,
See, my
I'd
credits
get on
improved your voice.
I'd get on Ventrilo back in the day in like public forums and be like, "I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away." And then I just leave.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, next one. Ooh. Dark Crystal versus Labyrinth.
Oh wow!
You can't do this.
No, you cannot do this.
You can't do this.
This one's rough. Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Did Jim Henson do Dark Crystal as well? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is like Jim Henson at the peak of his powers versus Jim Henson at the peak of his powers.
yeah.
Like this is.
I mean,
this
okay,
is
but
a 4-up.
one of them has Bowie, and that's what I'm going
That
with.
is a very, very big.
And I hate that because I
One
love
of them
both
has-
of these movies.
But one of them has Skeksis in it.
True, it's very true, and it's a cool mythos. It's like a full it's a deep mythos. That's what's got me so.
Chat's
and
not
that's
helping.
why-
Chat's divided too. Like half.
And
and
that's why I'm
half.
going. That's why I'm going Crystal. Crystal was a whole world rather than a teenage girl just getting transported to like.
But still,
But still had Bowie. But it wasn't a musical, and so I didn't love musicals that much as a kid.
Magic
I'm going
jump.
Crystal.
yeah.
I'm going Crystal.
I mean, the Bog of Eternal Stench.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can.
It's so good. Everything about these is there's no right answer, and therefore there is no wrong answer,
That's
Dustin.
fair.
So you go nuts.
Oh, what? Wait, Paul, you said it. You said Labyrinth.
I said Labyrinth. It's got to be Labyrinth.
Oh,
I say Crystal.
oh, I hate you guys. And the chat is completely divided.
It was funny. Labyrinth had it at the beginning, like the first 4, like Labyrinth, and then Crystal,
And then
bang,
Crystals
right
came
back
out of
in there.
nowhere. Yeah.
Me and my brothers, you know the ooh thing. They just
Mhm.
they all do that.
Call the
We do that
Stone.
before we do that before we sing Happy Birthday,
Oh.
and we've done that before we sing Happy Birthday
So Labyrinth is a
for our
part of your.
entire lives.
Oh, that's the Dark Crystal you're talking about.
Dark Crystal. Yeah. Just to show you how impactful that movie's been on me.
Yeah, they've both been pretty. You know what? If she just would have walked straight, it would have led her to that castle.
Yeah, don't go that way. That'd take you right to the castle.
I gotta go Dark Crystal.
Oh, Adam gets one back.
That hurt.
How does it taste? Oh, I'm not happy about this either. There was
a bad
only
taste in my mouth.
misery from this one.
Oh,
This is what I deal with, people.
All right, last of the quarterfinals.
Make me spit my water.
Last of the quarterfinals is Conan versus Lord of the Rings.
Oh, brutal! Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, yeah.
It's Lord of the
I mean,
Rings.
to see. So I'll quantify it. Not just it's awesome and we should all love it or whatever, but those scenes have played in my mind since I could read essentially. And to see them brought to life in such a way that leaves you wanting nothing. From those scenes, and spectacular.
Oh, we have some votes for Conan. Nice. I'm happy to hear because you know what, like.
I don't like Conan getting 3-0'd. I will say Conan doesn't get 3-0'd.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
He deserves better than that.
The scenes stuff. Conan in the books is more of a rogue, and that's why you see him, breaking into things and stuff. He's not so Arnold Schwarzenegger playing that, that he's a larger than life, but also the roguish stuff. It like blends everything together. And Conan exists in the Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos. They all exist in the same world. So it is like, again, this hurts to
chat
vote
is really going hard on Conan. Our chat
against Conan. Well, I mean,
movies.
Look, it is Fellowship of the Rings, though. There's no undeniable it's Fellowship of the Rings. But I'm saying that's why it's close.
That's why it's close. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So 2-1 Lord of the Rings. Oh. That should
I
be
get Riot if not Labyrinth.
That
We gotta go.
Okay. Now, semifinals. First up, Princess Bride versus Highlander.
Who wants to live forever?
Because this is the fantasy movie category, I got to go Princess Bride.
You don't think
but that's the only reason.
Highlander
it's
for
Highlander
me.
For me.
Undeniably Highlander.
It's undeniably Highlander.
Dang. Princess Bride had a great run.
They had a great run. Princess Bride beat out Willow, all right, and Princess Mononoke. It took down some giants.
Absolutely, it took some scalps.
All right.
Yeah, look, Highlander, baby. Oh my god,
Highlander. I mentioned this before, but like when someone described what that movie was about to me when I was a kid, I was like, that movie cannot exist. It's too cool. It's too cool. That sounds too cool.
Yes.
This cannot exist as a movie. This can't be real.
Yeah. Okay. And next, the semifinals: Dark Crystal versus Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Is that 3-0?
It is. Fellowship of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then the
Highlander
versus Lord of the Rings.
It's Lord of the freaking Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
It has to be.
It's gonna be tough.
I think the only one that came close enough to Lord of the Rings was Conan.
Yeah.
Conan was the one that could take it down.
Look,
it just didn't.
I'd be happy if Highlander got a vote here over Lord of the Rings, but it's not. That's a 70-30. Like,
wait, Highlander has professional wrestling in it as well, so
just has everything.
There's a lot in that. There's a lot of good stuff in this movie.
We got some Highlander in here.
Okay.
So the only reason is because I think the Lord of the Rings soundtrack is as good as the Highlander soundtrack.
The soundtrack.
That's it. That's all it was. That's all it was, guys.
Get in the comments, people. Let them know where he is.
Let them know what you really think.
So look, I truly believe, and this may be a hill I will die on, is that Lord of the Rings is the best adaptation to a beloved fantasy novel that has been done. And even then, it's not what they put in; it's what they couldn't put in. Like what they like, because I've of course I'm a massive Lord of the Rings nerd. I've gone in deep in all the planning, all this stuff, and they tried to put in everything, and then just had to start picking everything out because the story's just too freaking big. There's too many characters. There's too many subplots going on, and it's still the best adaptation to any book we've ever had.
So the winner of the fantasy genre, to no real surprise, is Lord of the Rings, specifically Fellowship of the Ring. Next week is the sci-fi. That like I'm just looking at the movies in that category.
Wait, Krull was in the fantasy and not the sci-fi?
Yes.
Oh,
They
okay.
ride horses in that movie, so
Wait, they have horses in the Planet of the Apes. Is that in this one?
They also have horses in Star Wars apparently as well. So I don't know.
Krull wouldn't have made it very far in sci-fi. It would.
No, it would not have.
Dad didn't make it far in fantasy.
I think they ride horses on the hull of a Star Destroyer in Star Wars, if I remember it. Anyway, I don't know if I drew the best line in the sand, but let's. We'll wait to next week to find out. No spoilers.
So So we have a first and a second place in Lord of the Rings, then Highlander. I believe this being such a genre that's close to our hearts, we should award a third place. Who got knocked out in the semis? It was
Princess Bride.
Princess Bride and Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal. All right, Dark Crystal versus Princess Bride.
No, it was Labyrinth, right?
No, Labyrinth got beat by Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal beat Labyrinth. Yeah.
Oh.
yes, Paul. Yes. That little grumble made the whole show. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna leave this one perfect only to chat. So chat's
saying Conan.
If we get enough Conan votes,
fair.
hell, we'll chuck it in.
We have a lot of votes for Conan for that one. Conan, yeah, you know what? It had to go up against Lord of the Rings in the quarterfinals. I think that's fair too.
So all right, so it's Bride, Crystal, Conan. I'm happy to knock Crystal out of that. It's Bride or Conan.
Okay, let's do Bride or Conan, everybody. Bride or Conan.
Conan's popping off. We got one for Bride.
Conan.
Who do you want to win this, Paul? This is actually interesting.
These
are both your two most beloved IPs.
They're amazing. Probably got to go with Princess Bride in this.
I know why you're going with Princess Bride.
Paul's vote counts. I'll abstain.
If I got a picture, I can show
Bride,
you.
Conan. I'm sorry, Tanya.
Ooh,
we don't have a choice. This is what was seated.
I think Conan's up by a couple of points right now.
I think Conan's up, yeah.
I think that's it.
Conan.
Look, y'all been amazing in chat. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. That's our show this week. We will be back next week. Consider checking us out on Patreon, that tier 2 or higher, to get access to the follow-up show. Again, but y'all been absolutely awesome. Cannot wait to talk about some more 40K action as this summer starts to heat up as we get in deeper into this tournament season. Lots of big events to talk about. It is going to be spicy. Hope you have a great rest of y'all's evening. We'll talk to y'all soon. Everybody have a great night.
Night, everybody.
Night.